So it's liftoff for Tottenham Hotspur as they go to Villa Park and they beat Aston Villa 2-1. And from minute one you could see who was the team that had something to play for. Spurs came out like a house on fire. They came out, they pressed Villa, they hassled them, and that was exemplified by literally in the first minutes Emi Martinez making a mistake, trying to play out from the back, trying to play a pass that wasn't there. I'm pretty sure he tried to play it to Gessons, the guy playing next to Tielemans today in the midfield. He lost it. Richarlison had a chance, but luckily for Villa at that time, it was like 5 minutes in. Richarlison, he tried to take a shot, but Tielemans got in the way. Tielemans got a toe on it just before Richarlison could let fly. And yo, I'll be honest, man. Aston Villa, I know it was a rotated side. I know that they do have Europa League to focus on Thursday against Nottingham Forest, especially being 1-0 down from the first leg. But bro, that was probably one of the worst performances I've seen in the Prem this season. That was bad. That was terrible. I know it was pretty much their second string, but you still had good players on that pitch today that should have done something. You still had the likes of Jadon Sancho. You still had the likes of Morgan Rogers. Ollie Watkins came on. Tammy Abraham started. Tielemans, he's been there, he's done it. Guys like Ian Matson, he's good enough. Mings has been there, done that. Matty Cash, you had all these guys. Pau Torres, you had all these guys, and still that first half was absolutely shocking. I don't think even Wolves or Burnley has put up a first half as stinky as that. Especially Tielemans in particular, that first half. Yo, if I'm a Villa fan, I would be raging at Tielemans. I'm pretty sure when he got fouled in one of the plays, the camera panned to one of the fans and he was cussing Tielemans, and I don't blame him. Tielemans was an absolute disgrace in that first half, I'll be honest. Getting caught on the ball, taking too much time on the ball, letting players run past him at ease. It was crazy work. But let's leave Villa alone. Let's move on to Spurs. Spurs, yo, look, Spurs, they played out of their skin. This is a team that now believes. 2-3 games ago, they looked a team devoid of any confidence. I remember when they lost to Nottingham Forest at full time, you saw the players, they looked like they'd already accepted that they're going down, you understand? Van der Ven looked like he was about to cry against Forest. I will never forget that image. Van der Ven, he was the captain at the time with the armband. It looked like he was about to cry. It looked like he knew his fate was sealed in the championship. But this team under De Zerbi, they look like they believe now. And I have to give credit to so many players on that pitch today for Spurs. They came out and they performed. First of all, that midfield three, they did their thing, I can't lie. Obviously, we look at that midfield three before the game, we're saying, no creativity whatsoever. Just three sort of workhorses, not great on the ball. But I don't know if it's that they played out of their skin or Aston Villa were that bad. It's probably a mixture of both. But yo, that midfield three, that looks like AC Milan's midfield three of like Pirlo, Kaká and Gattuso, because it was looking crazy. First, let's start with João Palhinha. João Palhinha was looking like Sergio Busquets out there. I can't lie. He was doing stuff I'd never seen him do. He was spraying passes about looking comfortable in possession. I remember there was one instance in the second half in particular. He literally did like a mad scooping tackle. I can't remember on who it was. The mad scooping tackle. Then he did like a roulette past that player and he won the foul and he started and he got fouled and he started celebrating, doing all of this because that's how much it meant to Spurs today. You know what I'm saying? Conor Gallagher as well on the press from minute one. Press. But it wasn't just the press today. Today he showed some quality on the ball, especially for how well he took his goal, the first Spurs goal. Ball comes down, takes with the instep, kills it dead with the instep, and then a little half volley into the bottom corner, and that just sent Spurs on their way. You know what I'm saying? Then obviously the second goal by Richarlison, ball comes in from Matty's tail. I thought Mattel had a good game on that left hand side, especially in the first half. Cuts back on his left, whips it in, Richarlison header, 2-0. Also, I gotta give a big shout out to Kolo Muani as well. Kolo Muani, there was like a 15-20 minute period, Kolo Muani was looking like Luis Figo down that right wing. He was looking like Luis Figo. He was going past everyone. There was one where he skipped past Tielemans and Tielemans, he ate dirt. He just ate straight grass. He face planted into the floor. There was one where he went past two players on the sideline. I think he went past Matson and someone else. It was Matson and someone else. Went past them at ease. I think he ripped Matson again, went on the outside, got his crosses in. Kolo Muani did brilliantly, man. And all of Spurs, they just hassled and hassled. Can't forget about Bentancur. Bentancur was controlling it as well, you know what I'm saying? Backline was solid. Villa didn't have to do much, but the backline still give them credit, you know what I'm saying? And the goalkeeper as well. Goalkeeper and backline was steady. Porro was steady, didn't get beat at all by Morgan Rogers. Morgan Rogers had a quiet game. Very frustrating game for Morgan Rogers. He was probably the one Villa player that actually looked like he wanted it. Actually looked like he had some intent, because after the break there was like a 10-minute period, I'd say from minute 60 to minute 70, where Villa sort of looked alive. But I feel like as soon as Spurs made those changes, where they brought on Jed Spence for Kolo Muani and they brought off Bentancur for Basuma, they sort of just locked that off. That 10-minute period that Villa had, they just locked it off, you know what I'm saying? They locked it off, and it was pretty much smooth sailing from there for Spurs, you know what I'm saying? Villa did get the consolation through Emi Buendia. It was a great header. To be fair, he is good in the air. I've seen him a few times in the air, especially for a smaller player. He's very good in the air. Very good header, took it well, but ultimately it wasn't enough for Aston Villa to get a point. There wasn't enough time, and Spurs get the much deserved win. And now I'm pretty sure that's back-to-back wins under De Zerbi. They haven't done back-to-back wins since match day 1 and match day 2 of the season, which if you think about is crazy. I can't remember the last time they even, it's before Wolves. I couldn't even remember the last time they won away from home. So yeah, to get 2 back-to-back wins away from home, big for Spurs. And now they finally have lift-off. They're finally out of that relegation battle. They have it in their own hands. Now they send West Ham down into that relegation battle, and West Ham, I'm pretty sure, still have to play Arsenal next game. So it's looking good for Spurs, you know what I'm saying? It's looking good for Spurs. It's looking like they are gonna stay up. It was looking peak at times. It was looking worrying, but they are gonna stay up. It was good to see James Maddison back on that Tottenham bench as well today. You know what I'm saying? Maddison was back. He's probably gonna have a bit part to play. You know, he's probably gonna, last 3 games of the season, he's probably gonna come on as a sub. I don't think they're going to start him, they're going to rush him, but he can definitely offer something off the bench. If they're ever lacking creativity, if they ever need a spark, I'm pretty sure James Maddison, even a year out of an ACL, he's still got that magic in his boots. He can still do something, whether it's from open play or a set piece. But yeah, man, Tottenham Hotspur, they fully deserve it. It looks like they're a team that really believe now, you know what I'm saying? They really believe. You saw it from João Paulinho, you saw it from Conor Gallagher. That midfield three, Richarlison, Muani, Matisse Tell, they all did their thing, you know what I'm saying? Backline and goalkeeper, like I said, absolutely solid. But yeah, my man of the match, me personally, I think I have to give it to João Paulinho. They gave it to Gallagher. I don't have a problem with them giving it to Gallagher. He scored a great goal, was pressing, set Spurs on their way. But I just think Paulinho was a man possessed today, you know what I'm saying? Paulinho was a man possessed. When I saw that scoop tackle and the roulette, I was like, yeah, he's locked in differently today. This is a different flow state, because all season I've been watching this guy, him and Bentancur, and I've just been seeing, they're just average, you know what I'm saying? They're just average, pass it backwards and sideways. But nah, today they had intent, they had cutting edge, they were driving with the ball, they were confident, you know what I'm saying? They wanted to receive off their centre-backs, they were confident. But to be fair though, this was probably the perfect game for a team that needed a win, you know what I'm saying? Normally, you'd think, Aston Villa, they're fighting for Champions League. But this was probably the perfect game for Spurs, because number one, heavily rotated Villa side, and it looked like they were heavily rotated. There was just no green links on the pitch. There was no chemistry whatsoever between certain players. You know, Ross Barkley playing in the 10, Sancho on the right. You know, Rodgers was on the left. He's gonna have a part to play Thursday, but you can tell these guys haven't played together for a long time. It's like their first game together, and it could really show. So that was number one, lucky for Spurs. Number two, I actually think it helps that they were away from home. Normally in football, you think, when you're at home, you have the advantage. But I actually think it played a big advantage for Spurs being away from home. It just sort of took that pressure off. They could relax. They could go into the game and they'd be like, yo, we're the underdogs here. You know, Aston Villa, they're the team fighting for Champions League. Let's relax. Let's play on the ball. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes when you play in front of your own crowd, you know, they get nervous or a few things start to go wrong, especially in a relegation battle. And you hear the sighs, you hear the groans, and it can sort of affect the player's psyche. But I feel like today, it just didn't affect Spurs. Spurs felt free. They were away from home, away from their own fans. Obviously, they had their the Spurs fans, the section. They were booing Matty Cash in the first half. I actually don't know why they were booing Matty Cash. I don't know what Matty Cash did to them. But yo, yeah, they could just relax, you know what I'm saying? They could just relax. And obviously the third point, Villa had Europa League. They had other things to focus on. But yeah, for Villa, they need to make sure that they beat Nottingham Forest. They definitely need to make sure they don't perform like that. There's no way they can perform in front of their home crowd in a European semi-final like the way they did today, you know what I'm saying? And then after that, they do need to focus on Champions League, because even though it's likely they're going to get it, I'll be real, it's not a guaranteed, you know what I'm saying? 3 games to go, it's not a guarantee, you know. If Bournemouth win 2 games and Villa fail to win their next 2, hey, last day of the season, you never know. Scary things have happened, you know what I'm saying? And they're fine with Liverpool above them, Bournemouth below them. But hey, man, it could look scary, but it could also be a great season for Villa. But yeah, today was just one of them bad days at the office. You saw Unai Emery just folding his arms, just looking, just like he just looked disgusted. He looked just surprised. He had no words. It's one of them ones where he literally had no words. You thought that he might change it in the second half, but he just didn't change anything. He just let the guys go out there, try to fix it themselves, but he didn't really do much, I'll be honest. I had 10 minutes in the second half, that's about it. I still don't think the keeper even made a save. Even me saying 10 minutes is being generous, because their 10 minutes was literally just like, what? A Morgan Rogers shot that deflected for a corner, and Ollie Watkins shot that deflected for a corner. It was literally like, it wasn't really anything, you know what I'm saying? But they showed a little bit of liveliness, I guess. But that was just one of the most pedestrian Premier League performances you ever see from a club. That's the definition of a club who's got other things in mind, you know what I'm saying? European football in mind. I know Unai Emery, he definitely wants to win that Europa League. Even though they can secure Champions League through, you know, getting into that top 5, we all know the Europa League, that's Emery's trophy. I know he wants that trophy. I know he wants to bring a trophy to Aston Villa, you know what I'm saying? So that's probably going to be his main focus. Now 1-0 down against Nottingham Forest, but hey, the tie is nicely poised in the balance, and they're at home as well in front of their own fans on the European night, so that should be a good game. They have a good chance to go through. But yeah, man, this is lift off for Spurs, lift off for Tottenham. I think with 3 games to go, Spurs fans are looking and feeling a lot better about their chances being in the Premier League next season, and you do fancy them over West Ham, especially because even though Tottenham have injuries, you'd still sort of say that they have slightly better players than West Ham in terms of that individual quality, you know what I'm saying? In terms of that individual quality, I would still take their players over West Ham, even though the way they've played sometimes this season, I'll be scratching my head thinking, Jesus, are these players better than the West Ham players? But I'd say on the basis of today, now that they're confident, now that they actually believe, some of them, you could actually see, alright, cool, they actually have a bit about them. Matisse Tell, he has something about him, you know. Richarlison, we all know he's a dog. He can score goals. He can get you in these next 3 games. He can get you 3 goals. Richarlison is just like that. Obviously, we know Gallagher's gonna run his socks off. Bentancur, they still have Xavi Simons to come back. He's gonna add a creative spark. Maddison, like I said, can come and do things off the bench. Romero, he's out injured, unfortunately. That's another blow to Spurs. But Spurs still have, you know, they still have Jed Spence, Porro, Udogie at fullbacks. They should be okay. I think this is Spurs' thing to lose now. They're in the driver's seat. Three games left. I'd say if they win 2 of them, they're probably staying in the Premier League. But this was big. This was big lift off. Absolutely poor from Aston Villa, but hey, shout out to Tottenham. They're probably going to stay in the Premier League. No, they're probably the odds-on favourites. They look confident. De Zerbi's coming, done a great job. Looks like he's instilled belief, togetherness. You can see, look at Tottenham, they're fighting for each other. Under Thomas Frank, it was a case of like, yo, these men are just not fighting for each other. They sort of look like strangers under Thomas Frank. Spurs, how Villa played today was how Spurs were looking a few weeks ago under Thomas Frank, I'll be honest. They look like a team where it's just like they're separated, they're not together. But now it really looks like they're together, they're separated. Even when Paulinho was celebrating on the floor, you saw Kolo Muani come up to him, give him a kiss on the pitch, and you can just sort of see that, yo, these men are together now, you know what I'm saying? These men are together, they're united. It's looking like a great job from De Zerbi. He's looking like he's going to stay in the Premier League. He's looking like he was promised money, he was promised backing in the summer. So it's going to be exciting to see who De Zerbi brings in and what Spurs can do next season. Hopefully, when they have all their players back, all their players fit, and hopefully they don't have as many injuries as they did this season that killed them. But yeah, that's the game. Spurs beat Villa 2-1. And yeah, it's looking like Spurs are staying up this year.